Welcome back to the Jesse Rucinski show. We are having this is the year anniversary, which, I find to be kind of exciting. You know, whoever would have thought I'd make it another year here? Who thought I would make it a year here? Is really the impressive part for me is that I made it a whole year. And I only got in trouble with YouTube, which is kind of actually really exciting if you think about it. That I've made it, through a whole thing. You never saw the first one. I mean, you can go and see. I mean, I might not have come across as too nervous or anything, but I sweat through everything. Like I was a disgusting, sweaty mess when it was all said and done. But I thought it went well, and surprisingly, here I am a whole year later. So I really appreciate everyone that follows it along, wherever you are in the world. It means a lot. It might not sound very excited, but it does mean a whole lot. I even brought out the old hat, but it's been a year. And if you're listening to this, share it out to people to get more, ears on it, eyes on it. If you're listening, if you're watching this, remember the videos go on YouTube and Rumble as well. The audio is on Spotify, Apple and Google Podcasts, Anchor Breaker, Sketcher, Radio Public, Pocket Cast. It's all over Audible. It's all over the place. So please listen on those and follow the videos on YouTube and really Rumble, because they never give me any crap. And they don't kick me out of the algorithm, which Facebook has, which is why no one knows I ever do anything. There's people who would have to click directly on your thing because it never shows anyone. Even when people are on the page and I do Facebook Live, they don't alert them. So I've been algorithm blocked like an SOB. So all the people that are still here, I really do appreciate it. Glad I made it this far. Glad there's people here. Just need to keep, sharing along and growing. And everything will be okay and get better and keep improving. About all you can do. Alex are doing me any favors trying to help me out with that. So appreciate it. But now let's move on for the 2021 review, year in review. And it has been a dumpster fire of a year, if I might say so myself. I mean, technically it started out, I believe, with Bill de Blasio dancing with his wife in Times Square alone after he told everyone else they weren't allowed to do anything. So that was classy on his part. Should surprise no one with, how those people are, but, that was a great way to start it out. That let you know just how bad it was going to be when you're stuck looking at Bill de Blasio and his wife dancing on New Year's Eve when they told everyone else they weren't allowed to go. But, is anyone actually surprised by that? I'm not personally. We all saw it coming. It's just what they do. But, so then we move on to the January 6th, Capitol riot, which, no matter what anyone wants to say, it was still stupid and screwed in a really bad situation. A black eye for the country because it was just stupid, but an armed insurrection, it was not. Plenty of videos out there and stories you have watching the police literally just moving barricades and guiding people to the thing. Here, come over here. Guiding them through all of it. Pretty sure no one's actually been charged with any weapons charges. It's just been a whole lot of trespassing. And those people have, got for trespassing do more time than a lot of people that have done a lot worse things have gotten. Let's say in the last, I can almost go on to a year and a half. We'll go with that. Roughly 16 months. I don't know, 18 months, whatever. And there's a lot of, instances where these people have gotten a lot worse than, let's say, these are all people that have, we could see the video face. We know who they are. Of the rioters in Minneapolis. You can see a lot of the, and the looters, there. The rioters in DC. The idiots in Portland that were using laser pointers and all kinds of things. And legit blinding, police and federal agents and all kinds of people. You can see who they are. They didn't get anything done to them. The smash and grabbers that are ramping up all over the place as the months go by this year, happening all over the country. They just get to do it and see you later, bye. Because, the judicial system in a lot of states is, more convening towards the criminals' feelings and not the actual victims of the crime, worried about them, which is still mind-boggling. Look how easy the guy that ran over all those people and killed them at the Christmas parade. I don't even know how the hell he got out, but he got out. I mean, the kid that shot up the school in Texas, I believe it was 3 people. What, $75,000 bail? He was out. I'm pretty sure he just had to go back because he failed the drug test, but otherwise he was right out. All the looters, again, like I said, you can see clear video of them walking out and not covering their face, not caring, like we know exactly what they're doing. No one cares about that. And I heard that they're doing taxing for all the stuff you've stolen and sold. Now that you have to claim that too on your taxes, like that's going to actually physically happen. Like that's like a real, like, please tell me, like Booker T, tell me you didn't just say that. At least I think that was Booker, and he can dig it. Sucker. And that's not even like all the people that have gotten away with stuff like that was, the looters, rioters, people that shot, brought guns and shot people in school, people that run people over. Like there's a lot of people that did a lot worse things that got way less jail time. There's people that are still in jail right now for January 6th. No one got hurt except for one person that got shot. People got, I'm not saying, they didn't get hurt, but they were all, most of them I'm pretty sure were like, they were having like heart attacks and stuff like that during it all. Nothing was burnt to the ground. Like it wasn't like, and like there's people in jail right now for a lot more time, which really just, I think we could say irritates me to no end, but that would be the understatement of the century. But it shows exactly how the system really works and who's doing all that. They proved that when they did the January 6th committee and Jim Jordan, all these people, like, actual people that didn't hate the president, Trump at the time, they're not allowed to be on there if they're a supporter of him. They got along with him, which pretty much proves it's just another partisan thing that they're doing, just like the impeachment they did for inciting all that, even though they were, they knew the timeline before that they were attacking way before he even got to the part of the speech where he told them to peacefully and patriotically march down there and let your voices be heard. Like before we even got there, they were attacking way before he was even over an hour before he was done. There were pipe bombs planted the night before. So obviously it couldn't have been him inciting anything. Just with his words, regardless of what you want to say about him, that speech had nothing to do with any sort of incitement. Told him peacefully and patriotically. And all the reports have proven that he tried to get extra help. Like up to the day before, he requested more National Guard, and then all kinds of people turned him down to more police. Like because of the reports that they were coming, because the people knew it was coming for forever. I was warned it was coming, in advance from people I know up there, because they knew. But somehow they still impeached him and said that it was because he incited all of that by that speech, which is unequivocally a pile of just what. But we all know that. Anyone with brains knows that. But look at all the mainstream media coverage that it's still getting to this day, that there are all these armed insurrectionists trying to overthrow the government. Right. Because those people like get, barricades moved by police, and here, come on in this way. Like, yeah. You keep telling everyone that. Stupid people will believe it, but all the facts are out there. Everything's out there. If you want to still believe it, because you don't like looking at facts, or you say we're all just liars, that makes all those people conspiracy theorists. And again, I still don't condone anything that happened that day. I thought it was abysmal. I just sat there with my jaw on the floor. I think I walked and got some high-powered IPAs from the community mart here in the neighborhood. To come back and sit there and just mind alter, just stare at it for how long it went on. Like, didn't have to. And again, people knew it was coming, yet it still happened, and all that still happened, which is just, it's still amazing. And it's not even the whole thing. Like that was just the first, 6 days we had Bill de Blasio dancing around. We had that. Then we moved on to the inauguration speech, and there wasn't going to be any bullying. He was going to bring everyone together. There'd be no mandates. He's going to get control of COVID, crime. Like he's going to do all these good things. If you look at all the mainstream media polls, people actually, even on those ones, are saying that they feel like they're in worse shape than they were before. Yeah, Biden got into office. Like they think that he actually made it worse. And this is coming from like deep in it, like CNN and MSNBC, like all these polls are coming out saying that everyone feels like they're in worse shape now, like across the board, whether it's COVID, work, The economy obviously goes into work. The border, race relations, like everything is down across the board. But they said they were going to do all these things. And I mean, just in that speech, lied about not doing mandates, which they've been trying to do forever, lied about having a plan to get COVID under control, lied about getting the border under control, getting the economy back under control, relations with our allies back under control. And it's amazing how he said that. He didn't talk to Boris Johnson or anyone for days during the whole Afghanistan thing. He screwed up that whole, was it submarine contract with, France, which, they're one of our longest standing allies. I mean, like, no matter what, like, everything's in worse shape. Look at like Russia right now. Look what China's doing. Like, they was going to do all these things, and yet nothing was done. And people just fell for all the stupid hook, line, and sinker, though, which is just the tantalizing part of it all. And then we all got yelled at for a whole forever, over a year now, that we're all crazy people. Yet all these things that we said were going to happen and wasn't going to be taken care of happened, and they weren't taken care of. Because any of us that actually paid attention to politics know exactly what all these people stand for. Between the Bidens, Kamala Harris, the Pelosi's, the Chuck Schumers, the AOC, like, we all knew what was going to happen. Like, we all knew it. And like, no, good one. We'll start with the border. We'll start with the drugs, just the drugs seized and everything. Yeah, over there. Fiscal year, first year that we ever, crossed the 100,000 overdose deaths in the country. And we were at 100,306, which means that problem's getting worse. And lockdowns and all that are actually making it worse, because they're isolating people that, can't, people losing their jobs, people can't pay their bills. Those people tend to fall drugs and alcohol, and we all know it. Like, anyone knows it. Mental health issues are worse. It's why teen suicide are up. Suicide attempts are up. Like, all this stuff is there. And a lot of it, that's so much bad in drugs and everything now. From fiscal year, from 2020 to 2021, marijuana seizures did go down by over 200,000 at the southern border. Methamphetamine, though, that jumped over 13,000 pounds. Cocaine went up by just under 30,000 pounds. Fentanyl over doubled, 2.5 times. And heroin went down by about 300 pounds, which it was also down like 500 from 2019 to 2020. So it's still in a downward direction. But I mean, fentanyl is going way up, which kills you way faster. It's laced with all kinds of stuff, and it just drops you like a bad habit. And that's just the stuff we're seizing. Like, we know how many people got away and ran away. They couldn't stop, and they didn't know it happened, or they saw them coming and they couldn't do anything because there were so many people. Like, guess what? That's really, really happening. It's really, really disgusting that people are letting it happen, because they shouldn't. People should know better. People should give a damn. But apparently it's not a problem. It's not an anything. But I know pretty much everyone that listens to this in the States right now really has been touched by, people that are addicted to drugs and end up, overdosing, or people have committed suicide. Like, we all know these things, and drugs and all kinds of stuff play just a giant part of that. And look how much they jumped just 2020 with all the lockdowns. And, now people are trying to get their kids back out of school and stop schooling. Like, it's just, and the science doesn't even back it up, but it's just pathetic. And then immigration aspects, which our fearless leader, at least Vice President Harris, is supposed to be in charge of, which, everyone says nothing to see here, even though they're, AOC was crying because the kids in cages under Trump. They're literally, like, we saw the videos. At least the people that, stay away from the liberal media and actually have like other news sources. We saw the videos that, senators took and shared out to the world of them literally just lined in there like sardines, sleeping on the floor, just crammed way over capacity during COVID. All of them in there are literally on top of each other. Like, and mainstream didn't cover it, and they said we were all just crazy for talking about it. But I mean, here we go. Some numbers. As everyone knows, I'm a numbers guy. Unaccompanied minors was up 163% across the southern border from 2020 to 2021. These are all these numbers are. Family unit encounters were up 128%. Single adults, that was up 209%. And they literally kept setting record after record as the months went by, as we saw in the highest numbers in over 2 decades. Probably even more. Like, it is, I mean, has to be at least 30 years now. Like, there's an obnoxious amount of people that were apprehended across the board. It was gross. which means so much more stuff got through because there was so like that many, and we're well over double. And that's why we got so much. And that how so many people that we didn't want to come across, and drugs and everything got through because everyone was dealing with people literally just broad daylight, just thousands of them walking across the Rio Grande and other places every day. Like, can't stop all of them. People still got away then, even though they knew they were there. Like, people coming over in train cars and new cars and everywhere. It's really, really actually kind of gross that people are saying that, there's nothing to see here. But Trump's total for his last 3 years was 222,001 over Biden's first year in office. So please try to tell me it wasn't a bad thing. 2018, 521,090. 2019, 977,509. 2020, 458,088, for a total of 1,956,687. Biden's first year apprehensions, 1,734,686. Somehow everyone keeps saying there's nothing to see here. There's no problem. There's flying people all over the place. We all know that. And they're even trying to fight the Remain in Mexico policy still in the courts, even though that keeps people there. And when you did that, I mean, less people are going to come if they know they're not going to be able to like just cross right in the country and they're going to get shipped back to the closest thing. Like, do it the right way is really the big thing I'm at. Like, we shouldn't just take in every single human being on the face. I mean, I know we're not taking them all in, but that many people coming, obviously they think something. Like, I mean, literally 2020, 458,088 total. Biden's first year, 1.7 million. For those of us that do the math, his first year almost quadrupled Donald Trump's last year. I hate to break it to anyone that doesn't want to believe it or can't read numbers. I mean, they're right there. They're pretty easy to find, actually. It takes a few seconds to look the bastards up. Like, that's a problem. That's a very large problem. And it's just putting more, strain on an already like terribly like stretched out system that can't take it. And they keep going out of their way to fight every single thing, no matter how you feel about him. Like, the policy was good. It was working. And I think they should all have to go to their nearest embassy, the country that they first cross into after they leave theirs, and apply then. Sorry if it takes years. It takes years for people in Europe to have to do it, or anyone else, anywhere. Why in the world should be any different for people just coming right over? And a lot of them, as we've seen, aren't showing up at court dates, aren't even getting court dates. They're just like, hey, see you, bye. Lying about who they are, like the one guy that ended up being older than he was. He wasn't an unaccompanied minor. He ended up killing a guy. Like, I mean, these things are really, 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 really happening. And if you don't think it's a problem, then you actually probably have something wrong with you. And hey, this is just a human being. I don't care who the hell they are. At any rate, do it right. People did, we're a nation of immigrants. Yeah, and all of them did it right. They didn't just get a, hey, see you later, bye. Like, it's pathetic and disgusting how much people are letting it go and just letting slip and slide and don't care. Like, it's pathetic. It's like Afghanistan. I mean, everyone remembers Afghanistan. I mean, except for the people running the country, they just moved right on from it like nothing happened. Like they said, they didn't see it coming either. It's like, how the hell do you not see it coming? Like, they were getting reports, and it's been proven for months, of Taliban takeover, and they're just taking over everything, and no one cared. Like, it's been proven that they knew for months. And you know what they did? Nothing. Except lie and say that they were caught off guard. I mean, like, if you weren't worried about getting white rage and all this stuff out of the military, maybe you would have noticed that, or hypersonic missiles, and all kinds of things. But they didn't see it coming. And we lost 13 service members, which was the first ones in over 18 months. First service members that we lost in over 18 months. Because of how stupid the withdrawal was. And the worst part is there's proven reports that they knew it was coming, when it was going to happen, where it was going to be, and still nothing. Like, that's just abysmal. ISIS-K members that were released from a prison at Bagram, when we literally just abandoned it, didn't tell anyone, see you later, bye. We were just gone one day. That ended up doing the attack. And let's not forget about the drone strike that came afterwards that allegedly took them out, that didn't kill any terrorists. It killed a guy, and 7 children were dead. And, and again, no one got held accountable for that either. But, Who's surprised? Tens of billions of dollars went, of equipment and Bagram were left behind for the Taliban. Talking Black Hawk helicopters, weapons, like all kinds of stuff. And I might add China was in there with that Bagram airport, landing. So I still don't get why they didn't leave from there, because it was actually secured and they wouldn't have just had thousands of people crammed up in the streets and on the fences there for a mass casualty event right there to kill service people, because they wouldn't have been able to get near to Bagram. It's strategically better, which I might have, they left all of it in peace. So now everyone just moved right in and went on with their life. But, and now China's there, which is even worse. Getting all those resources and all that, but that's a whole nother story. Left people behind, whether it was civilians that helped us, special immigrant visa holders, allies, interpreters, U.S. citizens. Like, they left so many people there behind, and they can't actually give us a real number, but it's amazing how much they told us at the beginning. And then the numbers that keep coming out now every once in a while are higher than those numbers that they originally gave you, because they really have no idea. They don't know what the hell is going on. They're all incompetent. This is what happens when you put incompetence in charge. I thought they said the adults were going to be in charge. Adults don't let things like this happen time after time after time, where they say they didn't see it coming, yet here we are. And when it comes to, President Biden saying he's trying to, get back with our allies and all of that stuff, like, he didn't talk to Boris Johnson for over a week I think it was, over a week after having, he just said, bye, see you later, when they still had people there. Like, hey, we're leaving now, deal with it. He didn't talk to any of them. Like, no one even heard from him for 10 days. And he finally gave a speech, said he's been in, talking to his people and his top advisors every day. And they all testified and said they didn't hear from him for 10 days. Like, he literally just sat there and watched it happen and didn't do a damn thing to try to change any of it. Blame it all on Trump. And I've been on here. I have read his plan. Nowhere near Trump's plan involved that. Find the episode. I think it's called The Actual Plan. Yeah, it's actually what the episode's called. See, I can even remember it. I had nothing to do with anything that happened there. And then General Milley, General Austin, who's the Secretary of Defense, Crystal, all of them. No one had anything happen to them for all the incompetence shown, the lives lost, the equipment left behind. I mean, like, I know people that have lost, a piece of gear in the field, and everyone's suffering, had to go, get in line, police call, and find that piece of equipment. They just left, $85 billion worth of stuff behind. No one cared. No one cared at all. They just get to keep going on with their life, because there's no accountability amongst these people, because they're all actual children, really, mentality. Like, they're just worried about being woke. And again, white rage, hell, Milley, he's in like 3 separate books. He was doing interviews about that, but he missed all of this, and hypersonic missile, North Korea doing all their stuff. Like, he missed all of that. But white rage, though, they were getting rid of that out of the ranks, because that's such a big bad thing. Right-wing extremists out of it. We actually have real things to worry about, but they're worried about that. And sadly, that's going to keep only going forward, getting worse. Because, everything else just progressively keeps getting worse and worse. And the worst part is about Afghanistan is they just moved on like nothing happened. You don't hear, they stopped talking about it like immediately. Didn't hear a word about it. People died and all that, and they just, let's not forget Joe, looking at his watch every time when they were coming home. Like, you can say whatever you want. Like, there were lots and lots of people that were sitting there watching it. And a lot of the family said they came and he talked about, losing Bo. And they just feels their pain. Like, no, bro. It's not anywhere near the same thing, but he keeps pulling out all that same stuff, which is just pathetic. And our service members deserve better. Been there, done that. Got a t-shirt, a flag, some plaques, a bunch of promotion warrants and stuff out in the living room on top of the bookshelf, just stacked there, because I tried to put them up. And the cat, just one cat in particular, loves to just jump up there and knock it down, because the guy's way too big to be doing that. So I take it personally when stuff like that happens, just like the VA, and how dumb it's all been for me since the changeover of the guard. Like, it's been pathetic, yet here we are. Not a lie, it's just the way it is. Nothing we can do about it. Moves on to the economy that he keeps touting is the best first year for a president in like 50 years, or whatever the hell he is saying. Well, look at the unemployment rate. Look, congratulations. That probably means people's ability is run out in a lot of states. So they're down. But the economy is so good. Why does literally everywhere I go, everywhere, no matter where I am, has help wanted signs because they can't get anyone to work. There's all these jobs, but no one to work. Literally, I could see one or two places needing, but literally every single place with a sign up saying they need help. The economy is not doing that good. If everyone is begging for workers. Like I saw Taco Bell here in town that's starting at like $15 an hour. Like it's ridiculous. And the job numbers sucked. Like every time we saw them, they were way under what they predicted, like way under for the most part. And, it's just mind altering that people still say he's doing a great job. And the worst part is it's not even like he's making the jobs. Like we had like the highest employment rate for so many people under Trump before the pandemic, and all these jobs are just coming back and starting back up after the election was over and Biden won, blue states started opening up. Like that's what all these are. This like not new jobs. This is shut down the pipeline. Like you actually shut down all kinds of jobs. People are getting thrown out of work for vaccine mandates and stuff. That's for a later day. Everything opened up, so it's not even like they're new jobs. Like they're just people going back to work when states finally opened up after everything. Which isn't doing anything good. It's just opening up after the pandemic, so those jobs are coming back, and their jobs are already there. It's just people having to go back to work. A lot of people in red states didn't even lose their jobs or work, and they all still found a way to work in some capacity. And airports and Amazon and all of them, we know they're still working around the clock. All that stuff is getting shipped somehow, boys and girls. And they are bragging because wages are up. Well, congratulations, wages are up. You're right. I 100% agree. Wages are up, but inflation's up even worse. Record like numbers we haven't seen like over 40 years for inflation. So no matter how much you say wages are up, like because the inflation went up higher, it's actually a pay cut regardless because they're losing money because of that. Because they're paying hand to fist for more for stuff like, gas prices. They're highest in just under a decade. I think it was 7 years, since the last time they were in office. Heating bills are up at least 30% over last year. Gas is up 42%. Fuel oil is up 43%. Meat's up over 10%, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Even the gallon jugs of water jumped up like 20 cents. Went from 98 cents to $1.18, literally overnight. Literally overnight after the inauguration, like sliced deli meat doubled. I was only getting buffalo chicken. I wasn't even getting really nice stuff. That doubled literally overnight. The economy isn't that good. And all these people, to include the governor, saying it's going to go up at least 5%, I think they said at the beginning of the coming year, which is tomorrow. In case anyone isn't following along at home, the new year is tomorrow. It's going to keep getting worse. And it's just like if you're not like being affected by this, like you're one of those 1% that they say they're trying to hurt, which they're not getting hurt because they're all making profits regardless of all this, because the cost of everything goes up. They just raise the prices, so they keep making money. And it's the little people that are already making little money getting affected by all of it because it's hard for them to afford anything. You don't need an economics degree to figure that out. You just need a slight little bit of common sense. Just a little bit. Not a lot, just a little bit. You're welcome, 50 Cent. And last year, the best part about it all was him and Biden and Kamala and everyone else was blaming Trump and a lack of leadership for anything that happened, even though those people was being grubby and going out and buying everything they could, just like when we had the gas problem when they got hacked this year. There are people out there just going and filling up everything to include their gas cans, which then causes the shortage. People just went and did their normal thing, filled up when they needed to. We wouldn't have that there. I saw people filling up gas can after gas can after gas can. There's some people that couldn't even get any because it was all gone. They blamed Trump though. Like that was my favorite part. They blamed him for literally everything that ever happened, and now they're putting blame onto us, like everything was shut down and all that. Like it's all the consumers' fault. Like no, everything was still running last year. Hannah flew across the country 3 times back and forth. Crystal flew to Seattle, which means she went all the way across LA up, like she did last year. Like nothing like this is all because of the stupid stuff they're doing and everything that's backed up at the ports and all that. That's 100% on them. They blame it on whoever the hell they want to include us, the consumers and the citizens of the country. But, no blame for them, though. Nothing is ever their fault, which is just tantalizingly stupid and ignorant if you really think about it. But nothing you can do about that, really. And then we move on to race relations, which even mainstream media polls are saying people think are worse, between Kyle Rittenhouse and President Biden's response to that, and all the celebrities like LeBron and all that, like making things worse, but then they're praising Jussie Smollett. And we need to give him love, even though he faked a hate crime. Like, all those things are just getting horrifically worse. And again, mainstream media polls are even saying that people think it's worse off, which means you really know it's actually worse off. And MSNBC is getting polls that say everything's worse. Like, they're absolutely unequivocally in a lot of trouble. If even the MSNBC and the CNN and all of those polls are saying that things are worse, things are really, really, really worse. They are way worse. And they're probably going to keep getting worse because they make everything out to be about race and destruction and all kinds of just idiocy. And then we get on to COVID. And remember, all of them and the people that watch the mainstream media outlets said it was all Trump's fault. Everything, the deaths, not like it was all his fault. Drew, like, again, who I used to talk to, like all these people, like it was all his fault somehow, even though we didn't know it was the thing. It wasn't a thing. We didn't have tests for it. We didn't have anything because we didn't know it was the thing. Right? It took over the world because no one was ready, because no one knew it was there. But somehow that was all his fault. But none of this now is somehow the Biden administration's fault. And they're getting caught off guard by everything, which is just amazing. But like, he didn't have any tests. He didn't have anything. And like, no one knew, but they all blamed him. Now somehow all this is falling apart under Biden, and none of it's his fault. And I literally talked to Drew last year. It was a conversation which turned to a screaming match. Like, I was like, so him doing the travel ban, him being Trump, they all called him racist and xenophobic for, was a good thing then, right? It kept people from coming in from all over the world. And that technically saved lives because it made people on the virus harder to get here. And his response was, no, I can't admit that, which is really the problem of all of them. Because even when he did good and saved lives, no one cared. They still just know it's just racist and xenophobic. It didn't keep anything from getting here. It didn't keep, didn't do anything. Quarantining people before they came in, like all that, like it did nothing to fix anything, apparently. Because they're that brainwashed. Even when it's punching you directly in the face, I still can't admit it, which is like pathetic and childish, but that's a whole nother story for a whole other day. I don't got the time or the patience to deal with that. But I mean, Biden came in with, like, he was ready. When he took over, vaccines were all coming out then. Over 70% of the country is fully vaccinated, and they somehow lost more people this year than they did under Trump. Please explain that one to me. Something they didn't know was coming. We didn't have tests, vaccines. We didn't know therapeutics yet. Like, they knew nothing. That was all his fault. Now with everything, higher death rate, pretty much the same amount of time. I mean, is somehow not his fault. Again, it's that lack of accountability and anything, and apparently not having any brains. And now we have this like horrific lack of tests, which you can see, like, people backed up forever, miles trying to get stuff wrapped around the corners on sidewalks outside, crammed together. People have to walk through it, and all these people could be sick. Like, they're doing all of that. And I might add the fact that my mother was sick and they finally sent her to get tested, like, so she couldn't go to work. But then after you're done, thinking you're done with COVID, my mom had to go and pay $30 for a test so she could go back to work. Like, the free, you get a free one. Then when you're sick, you have to pay for the one so you can actually go back to work, which is just amazing. But like, how are they not having any tests? Even though the business execs come out and said they had a meeting saying you need to keep hammering on this like months ago to keep making them. Yet they have nothing. Like, that's mesmerizing to me. And again, nothing. No one's taking any shots at them or anything, which is just, amazing. And, with all this, we just hit a single day record for positive cases with all these vaccinated people and everything. Again, the numbers just don't add up, especially with all these vaccines and everything that everyone's been doing. And the fact they said they didn't see any variants coming. it's just mesmerizing because I don't know about you people that listen to this. I consider everyone that listens to me pretty damn smart. You know, like it's a virus, kind of like the flu, which has a million variants, and apparently the vaccine this year that they gave out, because it's only a guess, isn't really that effective about the variants that are out there, because that's what viruses do, and you never know which one to pick. But no one saw it coming. Like I've been saying it since it started about, there's going to be more variants. It's going to be just like the flu. It's going to keep mutating. It's going to keep doing this because that's what they do. And somehow they're still saying, they didn't. No one could have saw it coming. Like everyone saw it coming. Anyone with a little common sense pays any attention to anything. Like that's what viruses do. So to say that you never saw it coming, like this many people saying they didn't see it coming, like that's why you always have tests and all that stuff ready, especially when you're still in the middle of all this. Like, I mean, duh. This is what like Fauci, like, trying to cover for him. But I mean, like this is what viruses do, and like we knew it was in other countries for a while before it actually got here. This new one, Omicron. Like, and here we still are. Like research from them and other countries telling us stuff, and they're just apparently they're not paying attention to anything. And all they seem to be pushing is vaccines, which is really terrifying. Vaccine. People just took the red pill and used their damn brains, they would see how stupid all this is. And this is probably going to get thrown off of YouTube, but whatever. Don't really care at this point. Why aren't they pushing like therapeutics? Those are doing great. Monoclonal antibodies, like those have shown great things. They're refusing some people's stuff. They're pushing, like the mainstream media went after Joe Rogan, saying he was taking horse dewormer, even though it's an actual like medicine that's been used for all kinds of things. Got a peace prize for all the stuff it cures. They're still going after that. They're not telling people to eat healthier. Here's these, vitamin C, zinc, vitamin B3, like all these things. They're not promoting any of that, which helps keep you very protected from it. And they just keep, I don't understand how people are that thick and dense, but they are. And, like there's a lot of ways to do this, push therapeutics and getting healthier and all that, because that has proven time and time again to be the thing to do. Your best bet. No one wants to talk about that. No one wants to do that, which, doesn't surprise me, but it's still pathetic. And liberal media polls, again, people saying they're better off under Trump and we're worse now than we ever would, even though they planned, they campaigned, said it was all Trump's fault. He has no plan. I have a plan. And now last week, Joe came out and said there's no federal plan. Like, wonder why? Because there never was. And it should be the states doing all this. That's, you guys were bastardizing Trump for a whole entire year. I'm saying let the states run their own thing, because different people have different outbreaks, different numbers, different everything. But he ran saying he was going to get a hold of it for almost a year. And when he got in office at the beginning of the year, and now there's no plan at all. So, and that isn't even all of it. It's pathetic. Like that's only just some of the headaches that have happened under all this stupidity. But I have a federal plan. I'm going to get this done. I'm going to get this under control. And all of it's 1,000 times worse. And he's still blaming it on Trump or people like you and me. It's the unvaccinated. It's, all the, like, no. Like it's the consumer's fault, all this stuff. No, it's like all your crazy spending. And, it just makes things 1,000 times worse. And again, that's not even all of it. Like those are just some big ones. There's been a lot of stupid this year. Whole lot of stupid. Whole lot of Rosie? Not for a whole lot of Rosie. We're a whole lot of stupid. The song, not a human being. But it's been a crazy, crazy year. And I'm glad, again, 1 year anniversary of the show. Had to come on and do one. I'm going to start being back on schedule Tuesdays and Fridays every week. So make sure you pay attention. Again, follow along on the listening platforms or Rumble. Rumble's never given me any headaches. Right? Only Cloud Hub's good. Follow along on there. And again, Anchor, Breaker, Sketcher, Radio Public, Pocket Cast, Overcast. I see some people on Amazon Alexa, Amazon Podcasts, Audible, Spotify, and Apple and Google Podcasts. Like I can keep track of all of those, and they still put it out there every day because Facebook won't. Let's face it, they literally don't. They haven't shared anything that I've done to anybody. People actually have to go on my page to look at it, which means no one knows I'm doing anything, which is stifling the growth. So I have to thank I have to thank them for doing that for me. and hampering the growth of all this, but listen on the devices, the listening platforms, and you'll never miss anything because it pops up once it posts. It's about 15, 20 minutes. My phone's normally glowing and telling me that it's on Spotify, that it's there. So follow along on those. And again, Rumble, Cloud Hub, Right Only, just other places to have it on, but Rumble's always been really good. And YouTube's only hated me once, but I'm pretty sure I'm getting thrown off today because I mentioned COVID, actual numbers. Heaven forbid I do that. But I appreciate you all a lot more than I appreciate this potential spam call coming through on my phone. Really, it's been a good year. I appreciate it, and it's still going to keep getting better and things to come. I mean, if you go back and watch the first video, which I did share on Facebook page, videos everywhere else too, but to see where I came from, what this used to be to where it is now, is just mesmerizing, and love every second of it. Have a safe and happy New Year's tonight. I'm going to try. Might eat a lot of bacon. I'm not sure, but enjoy it. Be good to each other. I greatly appreciate you all. Don't forget to follow along, and all you people in around the world, because the countries that aren't the U.S. that are listening to this, please, again, I appreciate you, and all of you share it out onto all your socials, because I can't block all of us. Just follow along on everything else. Even follow along on Facebook if you're not on the page, and just look to share it out because it's there every day. So I appreciate y'all. Thanks for watching. Have a good and safe New Year, and until next year, peace.